Welcome back to the channel, Coins Most Valuable. Today we're going deep into one of the most exciting and most collected coins in American change, the Washington State Quarters. And trust me, some of these quarters that people overlook every single day are actually worth serious money. If you're in the United States and you love coin hunting, coin collecting, or even just checking your pocket change, you absolutely need to watch this entire video, because Washington State Quarters have hidden varieties, rare mistakes, and special features that can turn an ordinary quarter into a high-value collectible. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what makes certain Washington State Quarters valuable, why collectors are hunting them, and how some of these coins have sold for unexpectedly high prices. Every detail matters, so don't skip anything. You might miss the one clue that helps you identify a rare quarter. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to Coins Most Valuable, hit the like button, and turn on all notifications so you never miss another video about rare and valuable U.S. coins. Alright, let's jump right in. Coin number 1, the 1999 Delaware State Quarter with a P Mintmark is one of the most searched, most collected, and most talked about early state quarters in the entire series. And today you're about to discover why this seemingly common coin can actually be extremely valuable. Many collectors think the 1999 Delaware Quarter is always worth just face value, but that's simply not true. There are hidden details, early year production issues, die varieties, and rare high-grade survivors that turn this quarter into a surprising treasure. And when viewers understand these details, they realize this coin can sell for strong premiums, including one example that reached its highest recorded price at auction of $3,760 for a top-graded mint state specimen. That's why you should stay with me all the way through this full explanation, because every detail matters when it comes to unlocking the real value of the 1999 Delaware State Quarter with the P Mintmark. Collectors often underestimate how important the year 1999 was for the launch of the State Quarter program. This was the first year of release, the year that captured the attention of millions of Americans, the year that caused people to start checking their change more than ever before. And because this was the very beginning of the series, production pressure at the U.S. Mint was unusually high. The Mint needed to strike huge quantities very quickly, and anytime a mint works at maximum speed, the chances of die wear, die cracks, striking weakness, off-center errors, and other valuable anomalies greatly increase. This is exactly what makes the 1999 Delaware P Quarter such a fascinating coin to study, and such a popular target for collectors today. Even ordinary examples show signs of the intense workload the mint was under, and the most exceptional high-grade pieces stand out because so many coins from that year suffered from handling and distribution marks. When you look at the Delaware State Quarter, you're looking at the very first coin issued in the State Quarter program. It features Caesar Rodney riding horseback, representing his historic 1776 ride to cast Delaware's vote for independence. Collectors love this design because it connects directly to early American history and symbolizes the beginning of the most successful commemorative coin program ever produced by the United States Mint. And when a design is this iconic and historically meaningful, demand naturally grows over time. That demand is part of what fuels higher prices, especially for the most pristine examples. Now let's talk about what makes the P Mintmark Delaware Quarter valuable beyond basic historical appeal. Condition is the biggest factor. Most Delaware quarters entered circulation quickly, bouncing through cash registers, banks, and pockets across the country. That means the majority of surviving examples are scratched, scuffed, nicked, or worn. Finding a flawless or near-flawless example is extremely rare. High-grade mint state coins, especially MS-68 and beyond, are incredibly difficult to locate because even the smallest imperfection can drop the grade significantly. And when a coin reaches a top census grade, its value can explode. This is exactly what happened with the 1999 P Delaware Quarter's highest auction price. A superbly preserved example achieved a stunning $3,760 at auction because it represented one of the finest known for that year and Mintmark. Collectors compete aggressively for top population coins, and this pushes values upward. Even though millions were minted, only a tiny fraction remain in top condition. That's why this price is so important to mention. It shows that modern coins can be extremely valuable when they survive in elite condition. But it's not only condition that matters. Die varieties and errors are another reason this coin can bring strong premiums. Some 1999 Delaware Quarters show die cracks around the horse's legs, around Caesar Rodney's figure, or along the rim. Other examples show raised extra metal from die breaks, and these small but noticeable irregularities can make a quarter far more desirable. Even minor die anomalies can attract collectors because they represent the intense minting activity during the launch year. These varieties aren't always rare, but the strongest and clearest examples can sell for significant amounts. And because the 1999 Delaware Quarter is so heavily searched, collectors love finding unique die markings that make their coin stand out. Strike quality also plays a meaningful role. Some 1999 Delaware Quarters show weakly struck details on the horse, the rider, or the lettering. This is usually caused by worn dies or insufficient striking pressure. When a coin displays sharp, full, clean details with crisp edges and no softness anywhere on the design, that coin stands far above the average. These fully struck examples are more desirable, and when combined with high surface quality, they become genuine high-value specimens that can reach strong prices. Now let's go deeper into why the 1999 Delaware Quarter continues to attract attention from collectors today. Early state quarters are becoming more popular with new collectors, especially younger generations who grew up with the series. Because the Delaware Quarter was the very first design released, many collectors intentionally seek the earliest coins in the program as foundational pieces in their albums and sets. This steady demand creates upward pressure on values. As high-grade coins get absorbed into collections, fewer remain available on the market, and that scarcity keeps premium prices stable. Another reason this coin holds value is nostalgia. Millions of Americans still remember the excitement of finding state quarters and change during the early 2000s. That nostalgia has turned into collecting motivation, and as time goes on, the earliest issues gain the most interest. Coins from early program years often become long-term favorites among collectors, and the Delaware Quarter fits that category perfectly. The composition of the coin is the standard copper-nickel clad used in modern quarters, but that doesn't limit its collectability. What matters most is how the coin was struck, how it survived, and whether it avoided the heavy wear typical of circulating coins. That's why roll hunters and change hunters still search for 1999 Delaware Quarters today. They know that even though the metal isn't precious, the numismatic value can be, especially if they discover a sharp, clean, nearly perfect example. Let's break down some of the signs collectors should look for when evaluating this coin. First, examine the fields, the flat background surfaces. On the highest grade coins, these areas should appear smooth, clean, and free of contact marks. Even one tiny nick can drop a coin out of top-grade range. Next, inspect the high points of the design. Caesar Rodney's leg, the horse's chest, and the lettering edges are often the first areas to show wear. If these areas remain sharp and untouched, it's a sign of exceptional preservation. Next, evaluate luster. Mint state coins show a natural glow or cartwheel effect when light moves across the surface. A strong, undisturbed luster pattern often indicates that the coin was stored or preserved carefully rather than circulating. Finally, study the rim and edges. Any irregularities, dings, or flattening can dramatically reduce value. The finest examples, including the one that brought $3,760 at auction, show incredibly clean rims and nearly flawless surfaces. Demand for state quarter errors has also grown significantly, which helps elevate interest in 1999 Delaware Quarters. Collectors increasingly seek out off-center strikes, broad strikes, clip planchets, and dramatic die breaks. These errors vary in value depending on severity, but strong examples can bring notable premiums on the secondary market. A Delaware Quarter with a bold die crack or extra metal from a die break can easily attract bids because collectors love visibly dramatic mint errors. The Delaware Quarter also benefits from being the first example in the series, where quality control at the mint was still adjusting to massive production needs. This led to more striking inconsistencies, and a wider range of die health conditions. Coins struck with older dies often show rougher surfaces or weaker details, but coins struck with fresh dies can be exceptionally sharp. Because of this variation, collectors spend considerable time searching for those early die state pieces that show crisp, deeply defined elements across the entire design. Now here's an important point many collectors overlook. Even lightly circulated examples of the 1999 Delaware Quarter can hold value if they display unusual die characteristics, strong errors, or extremely sharp strike quality. Not every valuable example must be mint state. Sometimes a unique die crack or dramatic die break can add interest even to a circulated coin. Another factor supporting long-term value is the historical context. The Caesar Rodney design connects directly to the American Revolution and Delaware's critical role in the founding of the United States. Coins with strong historical narratives often retain collector interest, and this is one of the strongest designs in the state quarter program when it comes to historical meaning. Collectors appreciate designs that reflect national heritage, and this makes the 1999 Delaware Quarter especially attractive. In the world of modern U.S. coinage, early state quarters remain one of the most popular segments. Tens of millions of people collected them during the 2000s, and that collector base continues to expand. Many new collectors entering the hobby start with state quarters, and their enthusiasm ensures long-term demand for the earliest issues, like the Delaware P. As modern grading continues to identify top-quality examples, competition for the best coins will remain strong. The highest auction price of $3,760 demonstrates that even common modern quarters can achieve impressive numismatic value when they survive in an elite condition. And as populations shift, grading standards evolve, and collector demand increases, it's very possible that future high-end examples could bring even stronger prices. So when viewers ask whether the 1999 Delaware State Quarter with the P Mintmark is valuable, the answer is absolutely yes. Especially in high grade, especially with strong luster, especially with early die state quality, and especially with dramatic mint errors or die varieties. This coin represents the beginning of one of the most iconic coin programs in American history, and that alone gives it sustained interest. Combine that with real auction results, including the $3,760 record, and you have a coin that every collector should pay close attention to. Coin number 2. The 1999 Connecticut State Quarter with the P Mintmark is one of the most searched, most collected, and most visually striking coins from the early state quarter program. And today you're about to learn why this coin that millions believe is ordinary can actually be a highly valuable collectible. Many collectors assume that because this is a common state quarter, it's always worth just 25 cents, but that belief is simply not accurate. The truth is that the 1999 Connecticut Quarter has surprising value potential, especially in high grade, and one of its finest known examples reached an incredible $4,888 at auction, proving that even modern coins can achieve impressive prices when the right combination of rarity and condition comes together. That's why you should stay with me through this entire deep dive, because this is where the hidden value of the 1999 Connecticut Quarter is revealed. This coin was part of the first year of the state quarter program, a year that completely changed modern coin collecting. The U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure to meet nationwide demand, and because 1999 was the launch year, production was intense, non-stop, and extremely high. Anytime the Mint pushes equipment to maximum capacity, the risk of die fatigue, die cracks, weak strikes, and mint errors increases. That pressure created opportunities for collectors today. Even though millions were minted, very few were produced with the level of sharpness, luster, and flaw-free surfaces needed to achieve top mint state grades. That scarcity is exactly why the 1999 Connecticut Quarter has such strong value in elite condition. The design itself is one of the most beloved in the entire series, the Charter Oak. This tree holds deep historical importance for the state of Connecticut and its colonial story, and many collectors are drawn to it because of its dramatic branches, detailed engraving, and artistic complexity. But this same complexity also makes the coin extremely hard to strike well. All those thin, delicate branches mean that any weakness in the strike becomes very obvious, And this is one of the main reasons high-grade examples are so rare. When a coin's design has this much detail, preserving it perfectly becomes almost impossible. Most examples show flatness on the highest points, weakness around the finer branches, or small contact marks that disqualify them from top mint state grades. That's what makes the finest survivors so special. The 1999 Connecticut Quarter's highest auction price, an eye-opening $4,888, was achieved because the coin displayed nearly flawless surfaces, exceptional luster, and extraordinary detail preservation. It wasn't just rare, it was one of the very best known. Collectors aggressively compete for the top examples when a coin's population at the highest grades is limited, and that competition is exactly what pushes prices up to impressive levels like this. When you understand that only a tiny fraction of all 1999 Connecticut Quarters survived in such extraordinary condition, the value makes perfect sense. But high-grade rarity isn't the only thing that makes this coin valuable. Because 1999 was the first year of the state quarter program, there were many early die states, late die states, worn dies, and fresh dies all being used in rapid succession. That created opportunities for varieties and errors that collectors still search for today. Some examples show die cracks running through the tree branches, die chips around the lettering, extra metal from small die breaks, and even subtle doubling caused by die deterioration. While not all of these features create huge premiums, the strongest examples can bring solid value, especially when combined with strong eye appeal. And because the Connecticut design has so many lines and fine elements, it often shows more interesting die characteristics than many other state quarters. Another key factor in determining the value of a 1999 Connecticut Quarter is strike quality. Because of the intricate tree design, this coin is extremely challenging to strike sharply. Many examples show flat or mushy branches, soft lettering, or incomplete details. The coins that show sharp, crisp, deeply defined branches are among the most desirable. Collectors actively search for full strike examples because they stand out dramatically from the average coin. Even a small difference in strike strength can raise the overall appeal and help lift the coin into a higher grade category. Luster is also an important factor. Many 1999 quarters show duller luster compared to later years, partly because of the intense production pace, and partly because the dies wore down quickly. A coin with booming, brilliant mint luster that flows evenly across the surfaces is far more desirable and rare. The finest examples, including the one that achieved the $4,888 auction record, show a strong cartwheel effect and extremely clean fields that reflect light beautifully. When a coin shows this combination of luster, sharpness, and surface preservation, collectors recognize it instantly as a premium specimen. But there's another reason why viewers should take this coin seriously: nostalgia and long-term collector demand. The first-year state quarters are becoming more popular than ever as collectors who grew up with the program reach adulthood and begin building full sets. The Connecticut Quarter is one of the standout designs from the 1999 releases, and its popularity keeps rising. As more collectors enter the hobby and complete their state quarter collections, the highest quality examples disappear into private collections and become harder to find. This slow but steady reduction in supply is one of the strongest factors supporting long-term value. Circulated examples of the 1999 Connecticut Quarter often show heavy wear because of how widely the coin circulated during the early 2000s. Many entered cash registers, banks, and daily transactions immediately after release. That constant movement created scratches, dings, and rim marks that eliminated most coins from ever achieving top grades. This is why mint state coins, especially MS-67 and higher, are so rare. The survival rate of flawless or near-flawless coins is extremely low. When a coin survives untouched, protected from circulation and handling, that coin becomes dramatically more valuable. Collectors should also pay attention to areas that commonly reveal imperfections. The tree's branches are one of the first places to show loss of detail or small marks. The fields on both the obverse and reverse are sensitive to scratches, and the rim is often the easiest place to spot impacts. A coin with clean fields, sharp branches, and a strong rim is much more likely to reach higher grades. Even lightly circulated examples can be valuable if they show dramatic die cracks, clear die chips, or unusual strike anomalies. Because the Connecticut design is so complex, even minor die features can become visually interesting and collectible. Some coins show die cracks that look like natural extensions of the branches, creating a visually striking effect. Others show extra metal blobs or raised areas that collectors enjoy documenting and studying. But the most significant value remains in the top mint state levels. That is where the 1999 Connecticut Quarter truly becomes a treasure. The fact that one example sold for $4,888 demonstrates how powerful condition rarity can be. And because grading standards evolve and collectors continue searching for the finest examples, it's possible that future coins could break this record if they show even cleaner surfaces and sharper strike quality. Another important point is that the Connecticut State Quarter comes from a time before many collectors were saving rolls and bags with the same intensity as later years. Because it was the first year, many people were still getting used to the program. That means fewer pristine rolls and fewer fully preserved bags were stored away. As a result, the supply of high-quality 1999 Connecticut Quarters is smaller than many collectors assume. This adds a long-term scarcity factor that helps support its premium potential. Collectors today continue searching for this coin because they know the early state quarters can be surprisingly rewarding. Whether you're roll hunting, searching through pocket change, or examining older collections, this is one of the coins worth scanning carefully. The combination of first-year significance, a complex and beautiful design, strong collector demand, and real high-end auction results makes the 1999 Connecticut Quarter one of the standout coins from the entire series. When viewers ask whether the 1999 Connecticut State Quarter with the Mintmark is valuable, the answer is absolutely yes, especially in mint state grades, especially with full detail on the charter oak branches, especially with clean fields and strong luster, and especially when unusual die characteristics or dramatic errors appear. And the fact that its finest known example reached $4,888 at auction proves that this coin is not just a collectible. It's a potential modern treasure hiding in plain sight. If you ever come across a sharp, clean, high-grade 1999 Connecticut Quarter, treat it with care. You might be looking at a coin that stands among the best in existence, and coins like that are the true sleepers of the modern era. The value is real, the demand is strong, and the story behind this coin continues to grow as more collectors discover how special the 1999 Connecticut State Quarter truly is. Coin number 3, the 2006 South Dakota State Quarter with the Mintmark is one of the most overlooked but surprisingly valuable coins in the entire State Quarter series. And today you're going to discover why this coin, which millions of people think is just a normal 25-cent piece, actually has the potential to be worth serious money. Most collectors don't realize that the 2006 South Dakota Quarter has rare high-grade survivors, visually dramatic designs, and striking variations that turn it into a hidden treasure in the world of modern U.S. coins. And one of these coins reached an impressive $3,760 at auction because of its extraordinary condition, proving that even modern circulation strike quarters can command huge premiums when they survive in superb quality. That's exactly why you should stay with me all the way through this deep dive, because every detail about this coin matters if you want to know the real value of the 2006 South Dakota State Quarter with the Mintmark. This quarter was released near the end of the State Quarter program, and even though 2006 feels recent to most collectors, high-grade modern coins are far rarer than people assume. The design of the South Dakota Quarter is one of the most complex in the entire series. It features Mount Rushmore, a flying pheasant, and thick wreaths of wheat circling the main design. This combination of detailed features makes the coin both beautiful and extremely difficult to strike perfectly. Any slight weakness in the strike is immediately visible, and this challenge is one of the biggest reasons premium quality examples are so rare. Millions of people handled these quarters in circulation during the 2000s. They went through pockets, cash registers, change drawers, and vending machines. All of that movement caused tiny dents, scratches, and marks that eliminated nearly every coin from ever becoming a top-graded mint state example. That's why collectors today search intensely for the rare few that survived untouched. When a coin comes from this year in high grade, with full detail, full luster, and clean fields, it becomes an instant standout. The 2006 P South Dakota Quarter's highest auction price, $3,760, was paid for a spectacular specimen that displayed nearly flawless surfaces and extraordinary eye appeal. It wasn't just clean. It was sharp, bright, and beautifully struck, making it one of the finest known for this mint mark in year. When collectors compete for the top population example, the price can skyrocket. That's exactly what happened here, and it shows how serious collectors are about owning the best possible state quarters. One of the key reasons this coin has strong value potential is the artistic complexity of its design. Very few state quarters feature as many overlapping elements as the South Dakota issue. You have the 4 presidential faces carved into Mount Rushmore, each requiring precise detail. You have the pheasant, which is one of the highest relief birds struck on any modern quarter. And you have the wreath of wheat that wraps around the design in a complicated pattern. Each of these design elements must be sharply struck for the coin to reach high mint state grades. Even the slightest weakness on the bird's feathers, the president's faces, or the grain of the wheat can drop the grade significantly. Collectors should pay close attention to the strike quality. Many 2006 P examples show softness around George Washington's face on the obverse, or the flying pheasant on the reverse. Weak feathers, soft outlines, or loss of fine detail can prevent a coin from ever reaching top grades, even if the surfaces are otherwise clean. That's what makes fully struck examples so desirable and so rare. This coin also has interesting die characteristics that collectors search for. Because the U.S. Mint was producing state quarters very rapidly during these years, die wear, die cracks, and minor varieties occur frequently. Some 2006 P South Dakota quarters showed die cracks along the wheat, die chips on the pheasant's wings, or small raised metal areas on the president's faces. These features don't always generate huge premiums, but they do help coins stand out, especially when the die breaks are dramatic. Collectors love identifying these traits because they add uniqueness to an otherwise common date coin. Luster is another major factor. Many 2006 P examples show dull or disrupted luster from the minting and handling process. A coin with bright, swirling cartwheel luster that shines evenly from edge to edge is a much more desirable specimen. The coin that reached the record-breaking $3,760 had extremely strong luster, which is one of the features that pushed it into the highest grade category. Another point that many collectors overlook is how sensitive the fields are on this coin. The obverse and reverse fields, the flat areas around the design, act like mirrors. Any small contact mark, scratch, or abrasion becomes very obvious. That's why coins with perfectly clean fields are extremely rare. Just one tiny hit in these areas can drop the grade from a top-tier MS68 or MS69 down to MS65 or lower. And when the grade drops, the value drops sharply as well. Now let's talk about circulation patterns. By 2006, most Americans were already used to collecting state quarters casually, but many still didn't preserve them properly. Lots of South Dakota quarters saw normal circulation, and very few were saved in pristine, untouched condition. This is a big reason why high-grade survivors are so scarce today. Even though the mintage is large, the number of coins in elite condition is extremely small. Collectors also love the South Dakota Quarter for its theme. Mount Rushmore is one of the most iconic national monuments in the United States, and coins featuring recognizable American symbols consistently maintain long-term demand. The combination of a national monument, wildlife imagery, and agricultural symbolism makes this design one of the most patriotic in the state quarter series. That emotional connection contributes to its collectability. Now let's go deeper into the reasons this coin can still be found in circulation, but is almost never found in high grade. Circulated 2006, P South Dakota quarters often show flattening on the pheasant's wing, where across the president's faces, and dull patches along the wheat wreath. Even very lightly circulated examples lose some of the original mint luster, which automatically disqualifies them from premium grades. That's why collectors who search bankrolls, Coin jars and older quarter accumulations often struggle to find examples that stand out. But when a coin exists in top grade, with no visible marks, strong luster, full strike, and razor-sharp details, it becomes one of the finest known. That is where the four-figure value comes from. The record-breaking $3,760 example achieved its price because it combined all these elements flawlessly. Even though the 2006 South Dakota Quarter is a modern issue, it has the same fundamental value drivers as classic coins: rarity and high grade, strong collector interest, design appeal, and population scarcity. As time passes, more collectors complete their state quarter sets, and the highest quality examples disappear into permanent collections. This increases the pressure on remaining top-rated coins and helps support long-term value. Collectors today should examine the following details carefully when evaluating a 2006 South Dakota Quarter. Look at the pheasant's feathers, the president's faces, the wheat on the reverse, the obverse fields near Washington's chin, and the highest points of the bust. These areas are where imperfections appear most frequently. Coins with flawless surfaces in these areas are the ones that achieve top-rate status. This coin also benefits from being part of a generation of modern collectors who grew up with the state quarter program. Many of those collectors are now building full-graded sets, and the South Dakota issue is one of the toughest coins from the 2006 group to find in perfect condition. This demand increases competition for the best examples. Smart collectors know that a coin doesn't need precious metal content to be valuable. It simply needs to be rare where it counts. The 2006 South Dakota State Quarter is the perfect example of this principle. It is a coin hiding in plain sight, one that millions of people have handled, but only a very small number exist in the elite condition that collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars for. When viewers ask whether this coin is valuable, the answer is absolutely yes, especially in high grade, especially with exceptional luster, especially when the fields are clean and the strike is sharp, and especially when the coin displays the quality required to rank near the top of the population. And when one of these coins has already sold for $3,760, it proves beyond any doubt that the 2006 South Dakota Quarter is a modern sleeper worth watching closely. If you come across a pristine high-grade example, hold onto it carefully. You might be looking at one of the few coins capable of reaching four-figure value, and those coins continue to gain interest as collectors explore the deeper side of modern U.S. coinage. The value is real, the demand is strong, and the rarest examples of the 2006 South Dakota State Quarter with the Mintmark have already proven themselves in the auction market. Coin number 4, the 1999 Georgia State Quarter with the Mintmark, is much more than just a common 25-cent piece. And today, you're going to understand why this coin, which many people treat as ordinary change, can actually be valuable to serious collectors. Because despite its huge mintage, the right condition, the right eye appeal, and even rarer varieties can make a big difference. In fact, the 1999 Georgia Quarter has a true auction record. The highest recorded price is $329 for an MS-68 specimen. That's not pocket change. That's real numismatic value. And that's exactly why you should pay close attention when you come across one. First, let me explain what makes this particular quarter so special. The Georgia Quarter was among the first coins released in the U.S. State Quarters program. Its reverse design features a large, ripe peach. A symbol Georgia is famous for live-oak branches, the outline of the state, and the state motto, wisdom, justice, moderation. Every element is deeply symbolic. And for collectors, that design resonates because it's visually appealing and historically meaningful. But from a value perspective, what really matters is how well the design was struck, how clean the surfaces are, and how rare high-grade survivors are, especially for a coin struck in huge quantity. Speaking of mintage, the Denver Mint produced 488,744,000 of these 1999 Georgia Quarters. With such a high number produced, most of them entered circulation, passed from pocket to pocket, and eventually got worn, scratched, or marked. That's why many of the coins you find in circulation are only worth face value. According to coin trackers, Many circulated examples are still worth around 25 cents, and even some uncirculated or lower MS grade specimens don't command huge premiums, maybe up to $3.54 in certain cases. But, and this is a big but, those are for the ordinary survivors. When you find one in exceptional condition, things change dramatically. Condition is the king when it comes to value. The 1999 Georgia Quarter in high mint state, especially in grades like MS67 or MS68, becomes a real collector's coin. There are documented auction sales. For example, a PCGS graded MS67 Georgia D Quarter sold for $66. But the top tier example is where the true value lies. A PCGS/PCGS Coinfax record shows an MS68 Georgia Quarter, 1999 D, sold for $329 at heritage auctions. That's a big premium compared to face value, and it shows collectors are willing to pay for the finest known coins. So, why do those high-grade coins command so much? First, the strike matters. The Georgia Quarter design has fine details, the peach, the oak leaves, the outline of the state. And to hit them sharply, the die has to be in very good shape, and the planchet must be struck well. If you see a coin with crisp, clean details, sharp edges on the leaves, and well-defined state outline, that's a strong sign it could be graded highly. Second, surface quality is vital. High-value 1999 D Georgia Quarters will have very clean fields, the flat areas around the design, with minimal contact marks. They'll show good luster, that soft glow or cartwheel shine that indicates the coin hasn't been heavily handled. When a coin has that combination of sharp strike, high luster, and clean surfaces, it becomes a strong candidate for MS67 or even MS68 in the right grading service. Third, population scarcity. Even though nearly 500 million were struck, very few survive in that super premium condition. Collectors hunting state quarters know this, and so when one of these rare pristine pieces shows up, competition can push prices higher. It's not just about how many were made. It's about how many survived in top form. There's also a fascinating era story connected to some 1999 Georgia Quarters. Some extremely rare Georgia Quarters from 1999 were allegedly struck on experimental planchets. Gold-tinted planchets originally intended for Sacagawea dollar prototypes. These era coins have been rumored to fetch up to $10,000 in some reports. Now, these experimental alloy Georgia Quarters are very rare and not the same as the standard clad 1999 D Quarter. But the story adds a layer of excitement and explains why collectors pay close attention to all Georgia Quarters from 1999, not just the common ones. Even without an era planchet, the standard 1999 D Georgia Quarter deserves attention. For a typical collector, finding one in uncirculated condition with a grade like MS63 or MS64 could already be worthwhile, because such coins are more likely to retain their quality and may eventually be graded. Coin Auction Help reports that MS67 graded examples can reach around $70 if properly certified. And for advanced collectors chasing peak population coins, an MS68 at $329 is a very attractive benchmark. Now, what should you do if you come across a 1999 D Georgia Quarter, whether in a change jar, an old coin roll, or a collection? First, handle it very carefully. Use gloves or hold by the edges. Check for luster, check for sharpness in the design, and especially examine high spots, the peach fruit, the oak branches, the state outline. Then, evaluate the fields for marks. If it looks clean, bright, and beautifully struck, it's a good candidate for grading. Next, consider getting it slabbed. If you strongly suspect MS66, MS67, or even MS68 quality, having it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCS or NGC could transform your piece from a common quarter into a valuable collectible. At today's collector demand, high-grade state quarters are more than just nostalgic pieces. They're serious numismatic investments. Also, stay alert for era varieties. If you spot something very odd, a golden tone, a heavier feel, unusual color, or mismatched edge, don't dismiss it. That might be one of the rare experimental planchet pieces or other anomalies. For those Professional authentication is essential before trying to sell or value it. Over time, the demand for high-quality state quarters like this is likely to remain strong or even grow. Collectors who started in the 2000s are now older. Their collections are becoming more refined, and many are chasing top-grade and rare specimens. That's a long-term driver of value, because the 1999 Georgia Quarter is part of the early wave of the state quarters program. It has both historical and collector appeal, but its value really shines when preserved in excellent condition. To sum it up, yes, the 1999 Georgia State Quarter with the D Mintmark is valuable, especially when you find one in super high grade. The $329 auction record for MS-68 shows there's real serious value here, and the potential for other rare era types makes it even more exciting. If you ever spot one that looks particularly clean, well struck, or beautifully lustrous, don't assume it's just a regular quarter. It could very well be a hidden gem. So next time you're sorting through old change, digging into coin jars, or just checking your pocket change, keep an eye out for that 1999 D Georgia Quarter. With the right eye and a little patience, you might be holding something much more special than face value. And that wraps up our breakdown of these valuable coins. If you're still here at the end of the video, that tells me you're one of the viewers who truly cares about knowing the real value hiding inside everyday pocket change. These coins are more valuable than most people realize, and the more you learn, the better your chances of finding something truly rare. Before you head out, I strongly recommend you watch my other video on Jefferson nickels. If you think today's coins were interesting, wait until you see what some Jefferson nickels have sold for. That video is loaded with real collector insights and surprising price results, and it will make you look at your nickels in a whole new way. So make sure you watch that next. It's worth your time. And if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss future uploads. Like this video, share it with your friends, and drop a comment below. Let me know what coin you want me to cover next, what valuable coins you found, or which state quarter is your favorite. Your likes, your comments, and your shares help this channel grow, and they help me keep bringing you high-quality, valuable coin information every single week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this community, and I'll see you in the next video.